Thank you for tuning in. You're watching The Property Guide on ET Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. On this show, we're going to try and give you all of the information you need to decode the real estate market and make smart investments when it comes to buying property in this country. Remember, if you have feedback or any questions at all about buying property, whether it's about the loan, it's about the tax, or it's about the legal angles, or you want to ask us about a particular developer, our email ID is at the bottom of your screen, and you can get in touch with me personally on Twitter as well. On the show this week, we'll talk about the hottest market between 30 lakhs and 70 lakh rupees. This is where the demand is, but there isn't much supply. What does this mean for you as an investor? We'll also answer questions you sent in about Bangalore and Pune. Joining us on the show today, Jayashree Kurup, Head of Content and Research at magicbricks.com, which is also our knowledge partner, and Arvind Nandan, who is an independent analyst. Thank you, both of you, for coming in and helping us answer questions this week. I want to start by, first of all, talking about the bracket of 30 to 70 lakh rupees. Now, over the last few weeks to a couple of months, we've talked about this bracket, the fact that this is where a lot of the demand is, right across all of our cities, but somehow supply just doesn't come in. So there isn't enough supply and there's a lot of demand, which means that this technically is the hottest market in the country right now. Arvind, every time we talk to a developer and we ask them why they're not interested in this market, they tell us that it's just not feasible. The margins are not wide enough. The land is not easily available. They just cannot meet that bracket.
Sure.
Going forward, do you think the infrastructure moves that the government is making at this point will be able to ease up all of those problems?
In the long range, yes. But before we go into that, a couple of important things to understand why this segment is important. A 30 to 70 lakh budget means that you're speaking of mean income ranges in the range of about 7 to 15 lakhs per annum. Now, that is the range that is most hungry for owning a housing, and they don't find something. If you extrapolate it, you could also say something going up to 80 or 90 lakhs is also within the hitting range of this bracket, but still not fed properly. If you look at where these could be created, obviously they cannot be created inside the large metros of Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, because the land pricing is prohibitively expensive. So you definitely need to go into satellite towns. You need to go into those places which, like you rightly said, are being connected through new infrastructure. So the government's move on developing, whether you call it 100 smart cities or new urban areas, and linking them up with the business districts is most critical. So these will happen in the long range. Like I said, I don't see it in the immediate range. Of course, you will have certain pockets within cities or certain smaller cities or upcoming cities where these will be available.
Jayashree, when you look at the numbers across various cities right now, where would you say, and Arvind quite rightly termed it hunger, the hunger to own a home, where would you say the hunger is the starkest and the supply the lowest at this point?
Faye, it's actually in cities like Gurgaon, where there is a very large population which is young, which has moved into the city, doesn't belong to the city, and therefore would like to have some place to stay in. And this population, I think in Gurgaon up to 40 lakh, we see a huge amount of demand and absolutely no supply at all. And from the 40 lakh to about 80 lakh, there is some amount of supply, but the supply is, like you said, in places where the infrastructure is weak, or it is not very livable right now. And that is why I think the biggest problem area is cities like Gurgaon. Now, if you look at any city that has been planned, and Chennai is a classic example where the OMR, you had all the IT infrastructure coming along the OMR, and you have a lot of residential development there. There is lots of supply where the demand is, and those are the cities where people are finding places to stay. But cities that are unplanned, cities that are left to private development, such as Gurgaon, these are the places where you don't see supply.
So we could sit here and debate about, the possible solutions for the problems of supply that we're facing in this country, but all of those solutions would be hypothetical from inside the studio. What we're going to do instead is we're going to find out if there's an opportunity in this problem for investors like you and me. So Jayashree, I want to start by asking you this. If I'm an investor at this point looking to put aside some money in property, 30, 40 lakh rupees, then would this be the market that I should be looking at, because this is the market obviously with the highest demand? And if so, which city should I be focusing on and which micro market should I be focusing on?
I would say Hyderabad. Hyderabad, you get a lot of property in this category and good quality property. And I think Hyderabad is poised to grow. It's waiting for policy to play out. But I think when the policies play out, Hyderabad is a place with great potential. And you get good properties there. I would say along the anywhere close to the IT corridors or where new IT corridors have been declared. For instance, Uppal is a good area which is early in its growth cycle. You can buy there and you know that there is investment, IT investment happening there. That's a good area to buy. I would still go with places around the high-tech city, the Gachibowli corridor, because there the demand is never going to finish. And even if you take 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers away, that's a good place to buy. Another city that I think you should be looking at is Ghaziabad. Ghaziabad has a huge amount of stock that has come up, and Ghaziabad's demand does not seem to go away because of its proximity to to both Noida as well as Delhi. And already you've got the announcement of the metro all the way up to Greater Noida. Therefore, I would say these are the two places where an investor could buy now and expect to get returns in the medium term.
Arvind, I have the same question for you. If this is an opportunity right now for investors, where do you see the most potential in this bracket right now?
I think I have a great deal of congruence with what Jayashree was saying. So I'll definitely not repeat Hyderabad, which obviously is the first choice for me as well. Ghaziabad as well. But since she has spoken about that, let me touch upon another city. I would actually choose Ahmedabad as well. Okay. Ahmedabad is a place which has, from the outside, remained pretty stagnant, stable. Prices have more or less not climbed up at all. So it's been a market which is sometimes called a sleeping market. The reason is it has had huge infusion of supply over the years, and therefore the prices have just remained in equilibrium. But it is a place which has got a good deal of potential. You have to keep in mind that the days of doubling your investment in 3-4 years are gone.
It's gone, okay.
They're obviously gone these days. So, I mean, do not make an assumption that when I invest 30, it's going to become 60, 70. When I invest 70, it's going to become 1.4 crores in 3 years' time. Doesn't look like happening, at least today. When you invest in these places, you invest them for a long-term proposition, which is probably 7 years, 8 years, 10 years or so, and where the whole ecosystem, the whole urban ecosystem will continue to grow in a very vibrant manner. So from that point of view, I would assume Hyderabad is a great prospective. Ghaziabad, even parts of Noida are not bad, and Ahmedabad, certain parts of Ahmedabad are still okay. In fact, I'll take a very big punt and a risk when I say that I would actually choose certain badly performing parts of Chennai as well. I will not overlook them because they are in a very, very bad condition right now. They're probably going to remain like that for next 3 years. But if you're an investor for the longer term, and when I say longer term, I mean 8 to 10 years, then that's not a
Technically, that also gives me a 3-year window in which to make this investment then.
Oh, yes. Good point.
All right.
So you could actually have that window.
Jayashree, I want you to take us through the risks. Obviously, if we talk about the big national developers that have the reputation on their side, none of them are building in the bracket that we're talking about, which is 30 to 70 lakh rupees, or even 80 or 90 lakh rupees. So if you're going to buy in that bracket as an investment at this point, what are the risks and what checklists can we keep in mind to, sort of protect ourselves from these risks as far as possible?
When you're buying in this bracket, I think there are 2 or 3 things that are very important. You have to check that the developer has a track record of delivering. Check that the property that the developer has built in the past is livable. A good way to do that is to go and check previous projects and see that there are no seepage areas. If the bathrooms have seepage, that is a clear indication that the developer has not concentrated on good quality of development. Another thing is how well are these complexes maintained? Because remember, when you buy, it looks really beautiful and polished, but 5 years, 10 years down the line, you don't want to be living in aging, decrepit colonies. You would like places where there is a ownership on maintenance of the property. One more thing that you should be looking at is what are your maintenance charges. There are some developers who charge extremely high charges. That is going to be unsustainable for people who are retiring or things like that. So when you buy a house, do remember that there is going to be a regular outflow, and you must keep that in mind. be close to the transport corridors, but not on the transport corridors. You have the problem of noise, you have the problem of traffic jams, you may not be able to enter your area very well because there is a traffic jam right outside where you stay. So these are some of the things that you have to keep in mind. Check the legality of the property. We have a list of documents that you must check. We have put it up on the Magic Bricks website because we feel that this is something that people should be doing.
So take due diligence very seriously when you're making that investment. But there's definitely potential between the 30 to 70 lakh rupee bracket, as we just discussed on the show. What I'm going to do also is focusing on the areas that were named by both of our guests. We're going to give you a list of interesting projects within this bracket in Ghaziabad, in Hyderabad and in Ahmedabad. Take a look.
If you'd like to invest in Ahmedabad, here are a few projects you can take a look at. Gardenia in Prahlad Nagar, Sonet by Binori Infrastructure, Orchard Elegance by H.N. Safal and Goyal, Gloria by Aryan Group, and finally Serbo Center by Gala Developers. If you're looking forward to invest in Ghaziabad, here are a few projects you can take a look at. Jupiter from Angel Group, Central Park at Rajnagar Extension, Express 1 by Earth Infrastructures. If you'd like to invest in Hyderabad, here are a few projects you can take a look at. Gardens by Jewel Construction, Bonsai Homes by Incor Infrastructure, and Tree Walk by SVC Ventures.
All right, stay with us. On the other side of the show, we'll answer questions you sent in on Bangalore and Pune. Welcome back. You're watching the Property Guide on ET Now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's answer a few questions. Nagaraja Gupta has written in, he wants to buy either a plot or a flat in Bangalore with a budget of 50 lakh rupees. He says purely as an investment with a time horizon of 3 to 4 years. Now, capital appreciation is his sole criteria. He's made that very clear. He's picked Bangalore because it's a high growth and high appreciation location. He wants this investment to double before his daughter's wedding, which is going to be in the next 3 or 4 years. You just talked about the fact, when we went into break, you just said that those days where you could double your money in 3 years are gone. Yeah. Is that true for Nagaraja? Should we maybe temper his expectations a little bit?
Yes, I mean, first of all, best wishes for his daughter's marriage. But Mr. Gupta will have to be very careful when he wants to get that crore by making a 50 lakh investment in real estate today. Like we said, you know, it's practically becoming a dreamland these days. It doesn't happen anymore.
I mean, he'll have to consider stamp duty registration on the way in and the way out, which obviously by itself is a fair cost.
That apart,
yes,
even in absolute terms, the prices aren't doubling in that manner any longer. That used to happen, you know, 4 or 5 years ago it did happen, but it's not happening anymore. So there's no point trying to conjecture on a certain thing for which you do not see possibilities. However, there are possibilities in certain locations. I particularly like three pockets of Bangalore for high growth. One is the northern precinct, you know, where when you say Hennur Road or Tanisandra Road and those belts, those are definitely very good locations. Down south, again, Electronic City, Whitefield are good areas. But my fear is that 50 lakhs might just be a little too tight for Whitefield. So you may have to go further till Sai Baba Road, Nagar, or some area like that. So you'll have to choose your locations very carefully. Please do not think of making a crore out of it in 3 or 4 years. It's difficult. You'll be lucky and I'll be happy if that happens. But it doesn't look like a possibility in absolute terms right now.
Well, Jayashree, if we do accept the fact that the ask might be a little steep even from Bangalore at this point, do you have any recommendations for him within that bracket that he can actually invest in?
3 years, to my mind, is a very short time period in property markets. 3 years is not sufficient at all. But I would say that since he's looking at only leverage value, he should be looking at a plot rather than an apartment. And if he looks at a plot, I think he should be able to get about 1,200 to about 2,000 square feet plot in Devanahalli and Yelahanka, according to listings on Magic Bricks website. And don't go for a very large property because those are the large property investments are what is difficult to exit. So go for a medium-sized property and good luck to you.
All right, good luck to you indeed. And if you need more help, you can get in touch with us. We do hope you make your target, in fact, and do manage to double your money in the next 3 or 4 years. Well, Samatha Hegde has written in, he wants to buy a 3-bedroom flat for end use. He wants to live in it with a budget of 45 to 50 lakh rupees near Begur Lake in Bomanahalli in Bangalore. He's currently shortlisted the splendid Lake Dews. He says, please suggest what I should do. Should I go ahead? What is the average price of that area? So first, let's talk about the neighborhood he's picked to live in. Would you recommend he goes ahead with just the neighborhood?
No harm with it. I think it's a pretty okay neighborhood. And the project as well is pretty okay. Although I know there were some people who were raising certain doubts on that, but I don't think any of that is true. Good project. Location is pretty okay. Price-wise also, I find it's more or less in sync with the location's micro pricing. So I think overall it's pretty okay. The location and the project as well. Yeah. And I know HFCs are also providing finance for the project. So I do not see a reason why he should be scared of this or be apprehensive of this.
All right, next question. Noel De Silva has written in, he would like to buy a 30 lakh rupee property in Goa and stay invested for the next 7 to 10 years. He wants to rent it out, get a fixed flow of income. Please suggest some good locations and builders. You know, this is the interesting thing about Goa. A lot of people buying to rent out as holiday homes, in which case they have to consider what it's going to cost them to, you know, upkeep a holiday home. The other option is to buy in the main city and actually find a normal tenant to rent it out for the whole year. Jayashree, for someone investing in Goa at this point, purely for an investment and a steady flow of money, what would you recommend he does?
With his budget, he can get in Seolim or Porvorim in North Goa, and you can also get Nuvem in South Goa. In the budget, he should be able to get a 500 to about 650 square feet apartment. And considering that he's going to let it out, and in Goa, this seems a good size, it's easy to let out. What you can get is roughly about 6,000 to 12,000 per month if you rent it on a monthly basis. But remember, this is a holiday destination. Nobody really takes a property for a month. So you really have to have a good local agent who will be able to get you regular tenancies, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, that kind of tenancies. And therefore, it is important that you rely on a good local agent if you want to make the best returns. But you do get regular rental returns in these areas.
In fact, Noel, like I pointed out in the beginning, that you should also be very careful about what it's going to cost you to manage that property if you're going to find someone, you know, to manage it on the ground, to also rent it out every week or so, then that cost should also be worked in to your returns. Stay tuned. On the other side, we're going to talk about Chennai and Pune. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Property Guide on ET Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're answering questions that you sent in during the week. And Kumar has written in. Now, he bought an independent residential home in Wwatch in Chennai for 49 lakh rupees recently. He says, what price appreciation can I expect from the property going further? You talked about the fact that, you know, a couple of breaks ago that Chennai as a market has been doing rather badly. We've brought it up on the show for a while as well. There's a lot of political uncertainty. Nothing's really moving on the ground. So for someone who's made an investment like this, what sort of appreciation can he expect?
Now, what is happening in the Chennai market and in this market is that the last 3-4 quarters, nothing has moved. And unfortunately, because there is supply, because there is no major push by way of activity, nothing looks like moving in terms of pricing or appreciation even next 2 to 3 years in my estimate. So you are sitting on a property which is in a good location, which is in a promising location but futuristic, and the prices are probably not going to give you any major upside next 2 to 3 years. So you have to be mindful of that. Unfortunately, that's the reality of today.
If you were to take, say, a 7 to 10 year horizon,
then yes, if you are if you are able to ride this downturn, this down cycle with confidence, stay invested there, then 7 to 10 years is probably going to be a good time for you to get returns. But if you are looking to get quick returns, and when I say quick, I mean 3-4 years, 2-3 years, then unfortunately this is not the market which is going to give that returns.
Jayashree, in the meantime, is there any sort of rental yield he can expect from an independent home in Wwatch?
Yes, there is a demand for independent homes in Kurvancherry, and he can get about 7,000 to about 12,500 rupees per month as a rent. So my advice to him will be hold it, give it on rent, get your returns, and after the markets pick up, like Arvind said, ride the downturn and you should be able to get better returns. Because right now, if you're getting even regular rental returns, it means that it allows you to ride the downturn. I think that's what you should be looking at.
All right, next question. Sudha has written in, she wants to buy a villa in Kochi with a budget of 50 lakh rupees. She sent in a list of preferred locations, but she really wants to know what is the best location right now to invest in a villa in Kochi. Jayashree, you're very familiar with the Kochi market. Tell us what she should do.
See, in the Kochi market, she's mentioned 5 places. And when I look at Magic Bricks, I find that 2 or 3 of these are very active localities. Edapalli, Tripunitara, Kakanad. Kakanad, especially because the IT belt is there, there is also good rental returns. So I think these are areas that she should be looking at. She has also asked for North Paravur and Palarivattam, where I don't have very many options. But the first 3 locations, I have lots of options. She should be able to get about 1200 to 1500 square feet apartment. Lots of options for her as well. But these are all coming out of the secondary market. And I don't think a lot of developers are active in these areas. It is primarily you have to go search the properties, come to Magic Bricks, search your properties, you will find properties. But if you're looking at the primary markets, I don't have too many options on that.
All right, so you're going to have to look at the secondary market. And of course, when you're looking at the secondary market, it does make most sense to find the best and the strongest brokers on the ground as well to actually comb through the market and get you the best deal. Last question on the show. Amit has written in, he'd like to invest in a 2-bedroom home in Pune with a budget of 50 to 55 lakh rupees. Please give me a list of good builders and projects around, say, the Wakad, Hinjewadi, Kharadi, Magrapatta city areas. It does seem like his budget of 50-55 might fall short for the neighborhoods that he's just mentioned, doesn't it?
Very right. I mean, it's not a bad budget, but it's not a very easy budget to work with.
It's not a comfortable budget.
Yeah, it's not a very comfortable or luxurious budget where you can, go and comb the whole market like you said. But you still have options. Fortunately, in Pune, you still get options, but you have to be a little careful. Look at each of these parts separately. My personal choice, without knowing what Amit's considerations might be, would be to go for either Hinjewadi or on the other side to Hadapsar, where Magrapatta city is. But he could have his own considerations. Hinjewadi because it's the newly established IT-driven mini township.
But Hinjewadi is completely run out of his budget at this point.
Fortunately, and that's what I was coming to. Fortunately, there are a couple of projects which may still be available to him if he's able to stretch it a little bit. So there is Kolte Patel's Life Republic. That's there.
It's not a little bit of stretching. That's a lot of stretching.
No, about 55, 56. He should still be getting a base price of that much. Then Shreya, Sarthi Group. Some of the lesser known ones are also dealing with it. But yeah, obviously, it's not very much within the budget. If you look at Kharadi, there are a couple of other projects. B.U. Bhandari's landmark is there, but it is again touching 60. So you have to just keep stretching. Or look at Kumar Primavera, which fortunately will come up at about 55, 56. Magarpatta city, of course, there are a few options within Amanora, but there are developments by Bhandari and DSK, all of them 55, 56. So I don't think something very close to 50 is available. If at all it is available, it is just the base price. So you have to just build on that.
All right, so there are options, but like always, when you're buying a home in this country, you wind up, stretching your budget by about 15%. That's something you're going to have to be prepared to do. If you have any more questions or if you'd like to write to us about buying a home, our email ID is at the bottom of your screen, and it will be our absolute pleasure to hear from you. Jayashree and Advin, thank you so much for spending time with us this week. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for watching.